Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Spice and Wolf episode number 20 reaction. So the previous episode, it was I think it was like the finale for that arc. The whole situation with Amati, the final the whole making the market crash, that whole thing, the way they went about it. We got to see it in the previous episode. So basically, Lawrence waited up until the end, but he was like, it's not happening. He saw Hollow out there. He thought Hollow was like working against him or something, and he was like too like scared about the situation, and was like kind of logically thinking about it. In the end, that kid was like, no, you shouldn't give up. At which, like Lawrence was like, okay, I'm looking at this too logically. I'm making this also like a business transaction. No, let me have faith in Hollow. And that is when he realized that Hollow was actually trying to signal him to sell the Pyrite at the exact moment, and after that she'll sell it. So they do that, and they're able to make the market crash perfectly. And yeah, so also it was revealed that it was Hollow who was the other person who got the Pyrite from Diana. And we got to know a few other stuff as well, like Diana, a little bit of who Diana is. She's not a human being, like stuff like that. Also, we got to hear Lawrence's answer to Hollow's question. Lawrence said that, you're like, I cannot really explain it who you are to me, but this I can say, that you're definitely very important to me. And then he called her his guidepost, the person who will like make him like properly, like whenever he's going to go overboard, she's going to drag him back down. Similarly, vice versa as well. If she someday goes like overboard, Lawrence will try his best to help her out, and that kind of thing. In the end, they are on their way, and Lawrence and Hollow have a better understanding of each other. So yeah, that is how it ended. Beautiful episode. Now let's see what happens today. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it whichever is your preference, and let's begin. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Oh, she having a nightmare? Oh my god. Hey! Hey, no! Oh! Oh my god. And I remember, I think like Lawrence, was it Lawrence? Like, like, oh, in the ending song, I think we see he he puts Hollow's tail over him as a blanket when they're going, when they're sleeping. That's fine. And that's why this happened. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, I just realized the feathers. It's literally, we can literally see it. So yeah. Yeah, she he uses her tail as a blanket. Payment. Oh my god. Flattened? Wait, he's asleep. Damn. Well, you could have just opened your mouth, you know. But yeah. Okay, where are they? Damn, she just woke up. Hmm. Oh. Okay. Oh. Right. So this is okay. Roundabout. Yep. I was gonna say, but nothing could do about it. Like you know. Hmm. Yeah. Flower. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Hmm. Okay. Oh. Well, this is for business, you know. So yeah. Yeah. Oh no. That's not good. Yeah. Damn. Hmm. Huh. Ah, we have our reasons. Mendes. Hmm. Days travel. Okay, that's quite quick. Okay, so he wasn't able to sell it. Yeah. Hmm. I I think she doesn't want to stay here. Like this place. Wow. Hmm. What? What is that? Is that a tree? Water wheel? Is there a little house there? Hmm. What is? Hello? Yeah. Um, why? Tiny village? Okay. Hmm. This kid is acting weird. What's happening? Yeah, he's doing. There's flower in his hand, isn't it? Tail is. Hmm. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Well, she's not a nun in the first place, so I don't think it'll be a problem. No, he does have is is that flower in his hand? I don't know. It's like white. Okay, can you please tell what's going on? Like he it seems like he needs to he wants to say something. Huh. Um I I have no clue what he wanted. Right. Like he stopped us for a reason. What was it? Yeah. He, he okay. Oh. To hull it and grind it on floor you'll have. Oh. Okay. The flower. Oh. It's to be run the ground. I see. Hmm. Yeah, she's thinking about her own situation with her being the harvest, the god of the deity of harvest, and still people blaming her by the end of it. Like, oh, it's because of you we didn't get a proper harvest this year. All right, people aren't friendly here. You can see that. What's going on there? Yeah. Oh, I see. Hmm. Yeah. Everyone's just staring at you like that. Hmm. Right. Yeah. Can you please mind your own business? The whole gate is like rusted and everything. There's no maintenance, I'm assuming. Yeah, no maintenance. Like I said, it's like overgrown with weeds and stuff. Oh, is that girl from the opening? Hmm. Oh, she's a nun here. Oh, Ilsa. Oh, okay. Yeah. Wait, that title. Oh, all right. Well, sensitive topic. I don't think so. Oh boy. Yeah, like why would anyone lie about that? Like, hmm. She's sleeping a lot. Like, even in the morning. Is something wrong? Like, is she like okay? Just hugging her tail. Yeah. Yeah, so it's gonna. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hmm. All right. Hmm. The rumored man. Yeah. Wait, she's also some making like yeah. Whoa! Hello. Oh, okay. Is it taxidermy? Right. Yeah. Well. Hmm. Yeah, there you go. Oh, what? Hmm. Right. Well, we didn't get enough info, but you know. Hmm. How late is it? Wow. What is that? Oh. Hmm. All right. It's like really? Is that kid? Oh, under the church. We're different emotions. Hmm. That only God. Hmm. Starting. Oh boy. Hey yo. Hmm. Right. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, but hmm. Okay. Yeah, there you go. In the ending song, like I said, she uses her tail as a blanket. Hmm. And there you go. That was today's episode. Right. So today we had, um, like this was like the beginning of a new arc, and we are here in this place. What was the name of this place? I cannot find it now. But we have come to this place where we met a few characters. The first character was that kid, um, who who was like very excited, and when talking to Lawrence and all that stuff was going on. Then we come to the village, and here we meet the priestess here, and apparently she doesn't want to talk or reveal the location of the abbey. So she shut the door in front of us, and then after that, after we went to the village chief, he did the same thing. He was kind of like reluctant in telling where the abbey is, and yeah, so that's what's happening. So Lawrence is now like something is going on here. So I need to understand why they're trying to hide it, and why, like, what's the deal with this place. That's what's happening. And then we also have the final scene where we get to see that kid come and meet um the priest in the church at night, obviously at night, probably because I think like Lawrence mentioned it before, that like they are like what, where's that part where he talks about that millers, they are not really looked in a good way or something like that. Just a minute. Okay, here we go. This is the part. Okay, he's a miller. So when Hollow says like, "Oh, his eyes were more on you than me," he says like, "Oh well, he's a miller. He probably doesn't have an easy life." So he says that it's like being a shepherd. It's a necessary job, but a lot of towns and villages don't like them. Okay, you have wheat in that pouch, right? Yeah. If you hull and grind that much wheat, how much flour will you get? And so Hollow's like, I have no clue. So he's like, oh, this much, very little. Like this much grain will be this much flour. Right. So it's obviously very little. And he says that they say that millers at the water wheel always steal some of the flour. Also, water wheels are usually owned by the landlord. Okay, yeah. Who do you think collects the taxes from everyone who grinds their wheat there? Wait, who do you think collects the taxes from everyone who grinds their wheat there? Oh, yeah, I assume it would be the miller. That's right. Nobody pays their taxes happily. So who do they end up hating? That's pretty. I was going to say that's a pretty dumb reason, because first and foremost, like, but I can understand, like, people, like, we people, even though we logically understand that, oh, this is inevitable, we still end up doing the same thing and hating the people that doesn't deserve it, that kind of thing. So I can understand. First and foremost, there's two reasons why people hate millers. Number one, as Lawrence says, that when you mill the wheat, that much amount of wheat becomes this much amount of flour, you know and people think, obviously they do know that that's what happens, but people also sometimes suspect, like, oh, maybe the Will Miller is actually nabbing or stealing a little bit of the flour that they made. Because again, like I said, I'm sure everyone understands the logic behind it, that, oh, everyone knows that, if you do, like, mill the wheat, the flour will be very less. But this is human beings we're talking about. Like, some might suddenly be like, oh, I feel like the flour is a little bit too less, maybe he took something. they might blame, even though that wasn't probably the case. So that's the human nature, I guess. People love to just blame others about situations which, even if you think logically, is pretty understandable, but they still end up blaming others and be like, oh, it's your fault, that kind of thing. So that's the first reason. Second reason is, on top of that, the taxes. Even though the landlord is the one owning that place, the miller is the one who has to take the taxes, and that also makes people hate them. So basically, people hate them because, not only, like, they probably suspect them of stealing the flour, even though that's not what they're doing. Probably, the wheat becomes lesser and people just assume that they're stealing it. you know so, and then on top of that, they even take taxes. So that's why people don't look at them rightly, and that's why I said it's a pretty dumb reason for hating, like someone, because it's not on their hands. The taxes that he's collecting, I'm pretty sure that goes to the landlord, isn't it? That's what I would assume, because he's just the person who's a miller. He's just an employee. This is his job to do. Like, his job is to collect it and probably give it to the landlord. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's how it goes. So he's not even he's collecting it for someone else, and not only that, he cannot really do anything about it. Like, he's told that, oh, you have to do this, so that's why he does it. And since he's the one who is doing the job, people hate him. And then the whole thing with the flour as well, like the little amount of flour. So that's why I say it's a pretty dumb reason to hate someone, because it's not on their hands. They're not really the ones doing this. They have to do it. It's inevitable. um in that sense, like, you can see, like, Hollow kind of finds like a familiarity with him, because, as we can see, Hollow also faced a similar situation, and the people also blamed her without knowing what's happening, and just assuming that she's the reason why the harvest is not good some years, and that kind of thing. And it's just, like, it's just a crappy situation. Like, yeah, when you do something to the best of your abilities and people blame you by the end of it, that's just, yeah. So, you can see Hollow kind of like, and when Lawrence is like, yeah, like, you can understand, and she kind of, like, looks down, and then Lawrence is like, oh, like, but that is definitely something that is very important job. It has to be done, right? And I'm assuming that is why he stays, like, probably stays over there in the mill, and that's why he comes at night, so that there's no other people. People probably look at him weirdly and stuff. That's why he comes at night to meet with the girl. But I still don't understand one thing. I think Lawrence said this. He wanted to get out of here. That's why he was so overexcited, and he was like, oh, like, hello, like, hello there. Where are you going? This and that. And yeah, so wait a minute. Let me check this part. Okay, so right, so where's that part where Lawrence says that he wants to get out of here? I cannot find it. I cannot find that part, but I think, like, Lawrence says here, like, when I'm going to do the scene by scene discussion, I'll probably find it then. But I think somewhere here, Lawrence says that, like, he wants to, like, is that why he was, like, so overexcited, because he probably thought that he can, I don't know, what he thought. Like, maybe he thought that Lawrence is going to go somewhere and he can go with him or something, and probably take that girl with him or something like that. Maybe he thought, but then he realized, like, where Lawrence is going, and he's like, oh no, like, something like that maybe. Anyways, I'll try to, like, in the scene by scene discussion section, I'll try to look at this section properly and try to understand why he was, like, so excited at the beginning. It's something along those lines, I think. Anyways, right. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, This girl, I think her name is Elsa or something like that. What is it? Right, wait a minute. So she introduces herself, and her name is. Okay, where is that part? My name is Elsa Stingheim. Okay, that's her name. Now, the other person. Oh, never mind. I was like, I was thinking like, the other person that Lawrence like mentioned who he was going to go and like meet. Louis Lana Stinghild. I thought the two like the last name of both of them were alike, and so that's why I thought they're family or something, and that's why I thought like, oh, maybe that's why she got mad or something like that. Like, but no, her name is um Stingheim, while this other lady, her name is Stinghild, Stingheim and Stinghild. Yeah. So while reacting, I thought those were the same. Like the title was the same, but no, that's not. Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure. But if the title was same, I would probably say something like, oh, maybe like like this person is like her family or something, and she has some kind of a bad blood between them. That's why she reacted like that. But I don't think they're family. Their last names match a lot. Obviously, Stingheim and Stinghild, but they're not the same. So never mind. Because as soon as Lawrence brought that name up, she like reacted so like like she's like, oh, I don't know, like like, and just like closed the door in front of him, like, yeah. So there you go. That is what's going on over there. So Lawrence says, obviously, like Father Franz passing away, that is definitely true. But the fact that she said that I don't know where it is, that is probably a lie. So Lawrence goes and tries to ask the village chief, and the village chief also acted weirdly. He also didn't want to say anything. So so he's like, now he's like, I need to figure out what's going on. Now, another thing I just realized now, the reason why that kid didn't react to Hollow like any way is because like from the looks of the final scene, I'm assuming he is, like he's probably the with that girl in the church. So that's probably why he didn't react looking at Hollow, or like something like that. Because you could see Hollow tried to kind of like wave her hands, and he was like, oh, like like a friendly little wave he did. So yeah, so that's probably why, like, because he's already with that girl. That's why. Now there's also something else I thought at the very beginning, like not at the very beginning, but when the opening song plays, we've already seen these two characters in the opening song. I don't know. I thought they were siblings because they they look this almost the same. Like not the same, I would say, but they're, I don't know, like their facial structure and everything. Like they look like both of them have like dark hair and something like that. So I thought they were siblings or something. So probably not. Yeah, as we see in the end. So I'm not really sure. Because genuinely, like, and I look at the guy and then I look at the girl, and I thought like they're siblings because they look very similar, quite similar. Right. But anyways, and yeah, and that was today's episode. So now what Lawrence wants to do is like, Lawrence is like, I'm not going to go directly and ask them. I'm going to try to figure out, test the waters, figure out what's going on, and go at it through a different way to see if I could reach at some point. Yeah. So that's what happened in today's episode. So let's see what happens here and what the situation is. And obviously from the opening song it's pretty obvious that this kid and the girl, both of them will be like central focus to this arc. So yeah, let's wait and see. And yeah, there you go, that was today's episode. Now let me talk about this episode scene by scene. In the very first scene you can see Hollow and Lawrence are sleeping, in the field. Obviously they are in the middle of travel. And this part is funny. You can see Hollow was, I think like Hollow was having a nightmare or something, and Lawrence Lawrence uses her tail to, to cover himself, and I cannot really blame him because Hollow has taken the whole damn blanket. Like, what else do you expect? He's freezing in the cold probably, so he takes takes Hollow's tail to cover himself. And in a weird way, it kind of, I think, like, it got stuck. Like, yeah, he tries to pull the blanket and move on the side, and her leg gets stuck, and she screams. Hollow gets up, and Hollow's like, "What the hell? What happened? Someone attacked?" She stepped on her tail again, so double, two times it happened. Yeah, and after that, Hollow's pissed. Hollow's like, "What the hell, man? Like, really?" And then she's like, I don't really say anything. You take my tail and try to cover yourself. It's fine, but you need to understand this tail is a pride of mine. Which obviously makes sense. I've seen her, like, brush her tail a lot amount of times. So she loves her tail, and I guess her ears as well. Whatever. She's a fox. Obviously, she love her tail, and she's like, come on, and this is what you do. Like, look at my tail. It's flattened. What now? And you can see Lawrence is just sleeping, so she gets more angry and she, like, grabs Lawrence's nose to wake him up. Yeah, later you can see Hollow is kind of like, when Lawrence is going, like, on the card, Hollow is sleeping, and when Lawrence starts talking about the next town, yeah, like, Hollow gets up. Now, here's one thing that I don't know. I feel a little bit weird, or I feel like it's a bit, something. Is that Hollow is sleeping a lot today? We saw that, like, in the beginning. Maybe it's just because she was having nightmares or something. I'm not exactly sure what was happening. It seemed like she was having nightmares, and then, like Lawrence, like, stomps her tail, so that is different. But before that, she was like, it felt like she was having nightmares or something. Maybe that's why she didn't get enough sleep or something. I'm not really sure. But she was sleeping here later on as well. In the later part of this episode, she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to sleep." Like, I don't think she has ever done that before. Maybe she's genuinely tired, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. Either way, she then gets up and she's like asking Lawrence, and she's like, "Oh, like, is that the place where we're supposed to go?" And he's like, "Oh no, Miss Diana told me that there's an abbot who collects various stories of pagan gods there." Yeah. She's like, "Oh, so this abbot lives in this town?" And he's like, "No, actually, the abbey is in a very secluded place. One who knows the whereabouts, is a church priest in Tero." She's like, "Oh, so that is Tero we are going towards?" And he's like, "No, like, since we don't know how to get to Tero, we need to stop by the town of Enber to get directions." I was like, "What?" That's a roundabout way, but what else can we do? Like, that's what it is. Anyways, so wait, so this place is Rheinberg? I think that's what he said. No, Enberg. Sorry, why did I call it Rheinberg? Okay, Enberg. So this place where they were going, like, at first, was Enberg. Then we go to Tereo later. But the first town that they meet, this was Enberg. So they come here in Enber, and you can see, like, there's a lot of people, like, like, talking about faith and church, like all that stuff. So Lawrence also wants to, like, sell flour over here. He got it from Mark, so he's like, "All right, let's go and see what's happening." And when Hollow gets to know that they have, like, proper flour, she's like, "What the hell? Like, I'm eating, like, why must I eat black and bitter rye bread every day when we have such good, like, goods in our cart?" She's like, "What the hell, man? Like, we're eating this, like stuff, and we have, like, good flour with us. Like, why aren't we not eating fluffy bread? Like, Like, what the hell? And Lawrence is like, come on, like, this is to make money, this is for my trade. But Hollow's like, oh, like, like I don't know, like, maybe, you know, you literally like stormed my tail, so maybe, because of that you should just treat me to something good. It's not fair, and she's like saying all that stuff. Anyways, then they go to this person to sell the flour. However, he's like, we don't have enough, like stuff to get, we just profitable. We wish we could buy it from you, but yeah. So they kind of talk about a few things here, and this is where Lawrence is like, oh, do you have, like, do you tell me how to go to the next place? um and he asks for direction. He's like, where's Tero? And and he's like, oh wait, Tero, like, like, you want to go to the church, but the church here is much grander. And he's like, oh no, it's because there's someone over there that I need to meet. So you can see he then kind of like, like, redirects the conversation in the proper way. And Lawrence is like, can you please tell me, like, like, which direction we should go? And he tells them, him, and he's like, 1 day travel from here. Okay, now this part here, I'm not 100% sure, but I thought like the reason why Hollow, like, there can be two reasons why Hollow was trying to hurry. Number one, she's just too, I guess you could say, she's very, um, what's that word? She just wants to get this over with because she's very much like, like, excited about, not excited, but she's, I guess you could say it's like a mixture of excitement, anticipation, and maybe a little bit of like, concern as well about the situation, because technically they're like, this whole journey we're doing is to find her hometown. So because of that, she just wants to get this done as quick as possible. Maybe that's why she was hurrying here, or she didn't like this place, because she here says, she's like, oh, let's go. And Lawrence is like, wait, we can take a little bit rest here, it's already late. And she's like, no, let's go to Tero, we'll rest in Tero tomorrow. So either of it, maybe she just didn't want to stay here, maybe this place, like, yeah, either of it. I'm not really sure what reason it was exactly. But yeah, anyways, but then they're like, okay, like, let's go. So they're off again, on the journey. At night they do a little, like, they kind of camp for a while, and then they finally reach Tero, or they're at the outskirts of Tero, and there's a water wheel. This is where this kid comes out, and he stops the carriage, and he's like, oh, sorry guys, like, you're a traveler. Okay, so he introduces himself here, I think. Yeah, I'm a miller. Where do you come from? Don't look from Enber. How much can we reach there? Okay. So he's like, oh, it's not a town. It's like a little village. Okay, how much further? It's already there. Okay, so he was going to go, but then he's like, stop. Like, like, don't need to go that quickly, traveler. So what business do you have with me? And then he's like, oh, when asked, he's like, like, oh, like, what do I want with you? And then he tries to redirect the conversation. He's like, oh, that person over there, you have quite a beauty by your side. Obviously Hollow's happy, her tail is like wagging. And I'm guessing this is why Hollow tried to test him later on, but he, like, like, barely even, like, like, looked at her. And that is why it's pretty obvious that he says this statement over here, because he was put on the spot when Lawrence asked him, like, what do you want, or something like that. He was put on the spot, so he tried to kind of redirect the conversation. That's why he said this. Um, she's a nun in the middle of pilgrim, and this is where he's like, oh, a nun, like, I don't think it'll be a good idea to take, a nun over there. And he's like, but there's a church there, so, like, what's the problem? Okay, he says that there's fighting going on with the annoying people from the Church of Enber. Won't get things get complicated if a traveling nun gets involved. Okay, okay, so that's what's happening. Hmm. Okay. Next, what business do you have? We came here to ask for directions. I'm trying to read this part because there was a place here where Lawrence says something. Okay, so this is where he gets a little bit sad. He's like, oh wait, you're not sad, but a little bit disappointed. He's like, oh wait, you're here to ask for directions, and then he's like, oh, so you didn't come here to do business. I was hoping to help if you were. I'll help you when that time comes. And then he rushes to him again. No, then he's kind of looking at him like side eyed. Lawrence is like, my name is Kraft Lawrence. What is yours? Evan. Gun Evan. Okay, Evan. Okay, yeah, do not forget it. Okay, so he bids them goodbye. Okay, this is about Hollow tries to test him, and she's like, oh, hello, bye, no, bye bye. And he's like, looks at her for a moment, and then he's like, oh, okay, like, uses both of his hands to bid goodbye. So Hollow's like, yeah, well, he was more interested in you, so, you know. Um, okay, so he's a miller. Now, this is where Lawrence says that he has had a difficult life, like it's like being a shepherd, and he talks about the whole situation, how you know, like people when the wheat that they mill becomes this small, people already hate him about it because of that. Obviously, it's not his fault, but that's why I say it's like a stupid reason to hate someone. Like, and people sometimes think that, oh, he's like seeding flour or something. That happens. On top of that, he's the one who has to take the taxes. Obviously, he's not collecting the taxes for himself. I'm assuming he has to give it to the landlord. But then again, he's the one who's doing it. So that is why people hate him, because he's the one who's taking it, even though they themselves also probably know that he's not at fault. It's, you know, like someone people needs to hate, that kind of thing. People try to make someone the scapegoat, and who the person who's like literally in front of you, it's easier to put the blame on them than trying to blame someone else who you cannot see, that kind of thing. um okay, so yeah, and Hollow kind of gets sad here because, you know, oh, there you go. It's Hollow who said this. Okay, the reason the whelp was wagging his tail at you, yes, he probably dying to find a way to leave this village. There has to be someone running the grinder, but most people are suspicious of them and hate them. It's a thankless job. Yeah, so it's kind of like what's her name? I already forgot her name. The shepherd, the girl. What was her name? You know, it's like her, where she also wanted to change her profession and become like, you know, like a business owner or something. That whole thing that she wanted to do. So that part, like she wanted to be a tailor. Yeah, I remember that. It's kind of like that, where, you know, since that in itself is also a thankless job, she wanted like to save money and become, you know, get a different profession. And she found that opportunity and she took it. Similar to that, this kid here as well wants to do that. He has no other way but to do this now. But if he can find a different method, he's going to take it. And that's why he was so excited. He was thinking like, oh, he's come here to do business or something. Maybe I can go along with him or something like that. He was thinking. But you know, he got a little bit disappointed when he realized that's not the case. He just came here to take directions. Yeah, so now I also think that he also probably thought that, like, you know, if he wants to get out of this town, he probably wants to take that girl and also get out of here. So that was also probably what he was thinking. So I don't know, because I don't think he'll leave this girl here and then go away alone. I don't think that's happening. But you know, something like that. You know what? Let's wait. I'm sure we'll get our answers. Right. Okay, then they come to this place, Tereo, and like everyone's looking weirdly at them, and they're like ignore, like everyone's just looking at them, and then Lawrence comes and opens the church. The gate is like rusted. There's like weeds and everything growing around, so it's like not properly maintained. He comes and knocks the door, and the lady comes out. Her name is Elsa, and he introduces himself. And yeah, like obviously Elsa is not, it's kind of like acts in a very, I guess you could say, kind of like a suspicious way against him. And I feel like something is going on. I think like um Evans kind of hinted at something going on over here in this town. I don't know, so that's probably why she was very suspicious of Lawrence or something. So he's like, oh, I'm here from Kumerson, I'm come here, um I want to meet the person in charge here. She's like, I'm not an official priest, but yeah, she introduces herself. Elsa Stinghang. I'm responsible for the church. And this is where Lawrence is like, oh, so can you please give me the way, the directions to the abbey? And then he brings up that lady's name, I forgot her name, which is where she reacts and she's like, no, like, I don't want to, like, I don't know anything about that, like, please leave. Yeah, and then when Lawrence is like, wait, stop, like, what about like Father Franz? Like, what about him? I want to talk to him. And she's like, oh, he's dead. He passed away like last summer. And like she then closes the door and doesn't want to talk to them. So the whole conversation failed over here. So Lawrence is like, well, nothing we can do about it now. Yeah, so they deduce that obviously the thing about Father Franz dying, obviously that's probably not a lie, because nobody would lie like that. But she was probably lying about not knowing anything about the abbey. So anyways, Lawrence then goes to like this inn, like both of them is like resting there. Hollow, you can see, like I said, Hollow's like, I'm feeling like when I want to rest, I want to go to sleep. So I don't know. I felt like maybe something, I don't know what's happening. Is she okay? Like, is her health okay? Like she's like, I've never heard her say that she wants to rest. Usually she's like excited and she wants to go along with Lawrence everywhere. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so she's like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep, and Lawrence is like, I'm gonna go and meet the person in charge here. And Lawrence then tells her that, oh, you take the blanket, do this, do that. If you don't do all of that, the food quality will go down. And she's like, oh, I know you're not going to do that because you're a nice person. You're kind, you care about me, or something like that. Anyways, Lawrence also says, I cannot get in gifts for you. And she's like, it's fine. Like, like, you just come back, like, like safe and sound. That's all I need. And Lawrence gets like embarrassed at that. Anyways, like that, after that whole conversation, Lawrence goes and meets the person in charge, the town chief, I think. Her name, sorry, his name is, what's his name? Wait a minute. Okay. Um. Sem. Right, Sem. That's his name. So he introduces himself, and Lawrence is like, "Oh, am I here at a bad time? Like because there's like all the ladies like making like bread and everything." And he's like, "Oh no no, we're in the middle of turning the wheat we harvested into bread." Um, so Lawrence gets scared at the like a taxidermy of like a snake, and he's like, "Oh, it's not alive. Don't worry." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So he asks like, "Why are you here?" First, he gives him the like the wheat, and he's like, this is like a little small token of appreciation, like like a little gift. And he's like, damn, like usually travelers and like like traders, they just come here and like ask for something, like yeah, but you're just gifting it to us. That's nice. Um, so what's your goal? I'm looking for an abbey. I asked about the whereabouts in the church and didn't know. Yeah, so then like the Sem is like, he asks like, did Father Franz pass away? And he's like, yeah, unfortunately we lost someone good last summer. Um, right. So he asks like, oh, is it Elsa who took his place? Yeah. Then someone comes and like knocks the door, interrupting their conversation. So he doesn't get his answer. So this person comes in He like gives him some kind of like an information, like a letter. And Lawrence is like, okay, I'll leave now. He leaves now. So wasn't able to get information. He comes back and sees that Hollow is sleeping, so he also kind of takes a little bit of a nap. But then when he wakes up, yeah, he wakes up and he sees that, like Hollow is already awake. Hollow says, I recall you said the quality of dinner would drop if the clothes were not folded and I was not under the covers. He's like, you're too kind to do something like that. Right, so they're like, okay, let's go have food. But outside it's like empty, nobody's there, and Hollow's like, can we even get food at this point? Like, I'm hungry. And Lawrence is like, yeah, if we can go to the tavern, maybe we can. Hmm. Okay, after that, they find out Evans coming into the church, opening the gate, meeting with the girl, and like, like they're like hugging and everything. You can see all of like tails are like wagging. She wants to speak more, and Lawrence closes the window. She's like, "What the hell, man? Like, come on, I want to see." Oh boy. And she's like, "No, I wanted to watch." And he's like, "Bro, I didn't expect you were interested in gossip." And she's like, "Oh no, I just wanted to see from a third person's perspective what it felt or what it seemed like when people were like that." And I was trying to see how other people felt when they looked at us, if we we acted the same, and how others felt when they look at us or something like that, she says. And Richard Lawrence almost drops his, I think it was like drinking water or something, I don't know what he was drinking, but he almost drops it, you know anyways. Then she's like, oh, but I feel like we pale in comparison to them, you know she multiple time asks Lawrence that, hey, like calls him. Lawrence is like ignoring her. Are you listening? And then she's like, I'm hungry. And he's like, okay. Yeah, so this is where Lawrence says, like, I'm going to like change our way of conversation. I'm not directly going to ask them what's the location of the abbey, but I'll try to find out why they're trying to hide it. So let's see what happens. And that's where it ended. So yeah, there you go. That was today's episode. That was the beginning of this arc, I think. And let's wait and see how this goes and what's going on in this place. Right, so that is it. That was episode number 20 of Spice and Wolf. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. That is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Spice and Wolf. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.